Hello, Nicole. Thank you for coming in today. I know we've been seeing each other for a few weeks now. We can start discussing whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to talk about. It can span off of last week, what we've discussed, what we've been working on. So, what would you like to go over today?
I'd say being nervous and apprehensive about being in public.
Okay. So that's pretty broad. Is there anything specific about being apprehensive and nervous in public you'd like to talk about?
Well, I'm nervous and apprehensive about being dressed up in public.
Dressed up how?
Female?
Like a female? Okay. And why are you nervous? What makes you nervous or anxious about this?
Well, it's kind of nervous, anxious, and paranoid. You kind of feel like you're in a big fishbowl and you're the only fish being viewed.
Okay. So the anxiety comes from you feel like everyone's watching you, staring at you.
Yes.
Okay. And why does that bother you?
Judgment.
So you're afraid of people or people judging you makes you nervous.
Yes.
Is this people that you know? Is it complete strangers
Well, it's worse.
that you're more concerned about?
It's definitely worse with people I don't know, but it still is pretty bad with people I do know.
So it's worse with people you do not know. Why is that?
Even though they have a smile on their face, you don't know whether it's what is this thing in front of me, what their feelings are as far as, oh, this is a nice person, or they're just having to tolerate me because they have to.
And why does that make you nervous or anxious? Why does that weigh on you?
Because you don't know, obviously, you don't want people to treat you differently. You want them to treat you as an equal.
Differently from.
Well, if I walked up to a guy and I presented myself as a guy, and I would be I would have to socially be to do what would be required between me and that person. If you walked up to a woman and you started talking about makeup, you don't know if they're going to be like, go away from me, you creeper.
Okay. So it's more in settings of acting as a specific gender that gives you anxiety, or is it, anything, even just checking out from the grocery store, or it sounds like it's maybe more in a more of a social setting where you might be interacting with people more rather than just something.
It's definitely both, because you don't. It's always awkward when, like, if you're wearing a dress and you're checking out, and the cashier goes, "Here you go, sir," and you're just looking at them like, "What the f? What the f?" Can't you see him? I may have a masculine voice, but can't you see the difference here?
So is it when you're dressed as a feminine, or in a feminine way, or when you dress, or when you're dressed in a masculine way? Does it bother you there?
More when I'm dressed as a female.
So if you're dressed in a masculine way, it doesn't bother you if they call you sir?
Correct.
Okay. So it's more about when you're dressed in a feminine, then, that you want to be gendered correctly.
Correct.
And treated correctly.
Correct.
Okay. So do you have good support? Do your friends, family, understand that? You said it's less when it's with people you know. So do the people you know treat you as you want to be treated? Is that why it's less?
Well, as long as they're okay with me, I try to only associate people that are okay with me and are supportive of what I do, and try to make it to where, as they get used to me and I get used to them, it starts getting to be a normal.
Okay.
They correct, they talk to you as if you're one of them.
So you surround yourself with people who are accepting of you.
Yes.
That's good. So what are some coping mechanisms you do, or is there anything you do to help with not letting people's judgment affect you while you're out in public? Is there anything you do to kind of help calm that anxiety as far as caring what people think about you?
I try to push through it so I can try to desensitize myself a little bit of being out. Because even if they're looking at me, they may not just be looking at me. People have told me they may not be looking at me because they see a quote unquote guy in a dress. They may just go, oh, that's a cute outfit or something, but I perceive it differently.
So it's about your perception and trying to correct your perception. Because, I mean, it's definitely easy to jump to the conclusion that they may not like you or be thinking something judgmental because you're trans. But, truth is sometimes people just aren't going to like us for many reasons. There are going to be some people who just don't like you. And you can't control that. So, but you can control your perception, your view, and of the world. And so what are some things that you can help you in changing your perception? So that way you're not weighed down by people's judgment or thoughts about you.
I don't know. Usually if I'm out with someone and something bugs me and someone can tell, then they usually are like, it's what's wrong, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's normal. But it definitely still doesn't take the hurt away.
Sorry about the scratching noise. So going out when having support is a big thing to you. It's not as magnified when you have support or people with you.
Right, because usually I'm too worried about talking with them. It kind of takes my mind off of worrying about judgment. Like if I'm sitting in a fast food restaurant or if I go to order is when things start to get interesting, because then it stops because of my voice and because of how I'm trying to present. Then it's the anxiety of, do they see me as that? Do they see me as whatever monster, quote unquote, they want to see?
Do you think you'd be able to chop maybe someone's misgendering up to as just maybe a mistake? Maybe they just didn't know. I mean, especially with the drive-through, they're just hearing your voice. So they may not know, maybe trying to change your thinking to, well, they didn't mean to offend me, instead of they hate me because I'm a monster or something like that. I think that can stem from some self-talk too. Do you view yourself as that? I mean, do you give yourself a lot of negative or positive self-talk in this way?
Well, it's hard because growing up being abused by my family or others because of what I want to be, it's hard to, I don't even know what self-talk is so far.
What you say to yourself.
Okay, so like if someone was telling me something, is how I perceive myself.
Yes, how you perceive yourself, how you build yourself up or tear yourself down.
Well, I perceive myself how others perceive me.
Okay, but you don't know how others perceive you. Mm-hmm. Can you read minds?
No, I'm not psychic.
So then I think the focus would be maybe on building up your self-talk to be more positive, because if you have a more positive image of yourself, then maybe you wouldn't feel that others were judging you so much. So maybe the anxiety is coming from your own perception of yourself.
It could be.
Could I be right with that?
I think you may be right on that.
You can tell me if I'm completely off. But okay, so let's work on the positive self-talk some more. Do you journal? Do you do a lot of journaling? Okay. Sorry, someone wants to put their input in as well. Maybe we could journal some ways to help you in boosting your image of yourself and viewing yourself in a positive light. And then that may give you more confidence when you step out, because when you step out in confidence, others will see and feel that confidence. Energy is often translated. If you have negative energy, people will feel that. So if you have a positive energy about you, that may help a lot. And then if you have a positive image of yourself, then maybe it won't matter what other people think so much. Okay. I mean, what do you think?
Let's give it a try.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you for coming here today. Why don't you try journaling some positive things about yourself? So for next week, I'd like you to write down positive things you think are as good about yourself. Okay. Do you think you can do that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And be honest. Don't write something down that you don't think is positive. And then we can work on other things that you don't find positive, and so that way you can kind of view yourself a little differently.
Okay.
So, and each time you look in the mirror, I want you to look for things you like about yourself.
Okay.
That sound good? Does that sound like something you can do?
Sounds like something I can.
Something you can do? Do you want to do that?
Yes.
All right. Then I will see you next week, then same time. We're coming to the End of session. Thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you.